compliment for the new season to everyone. I hope I'm quite audible, Mangalani.
You are leadership. You are
loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Okay. Great stuff. Before I get to my points, Mangalani raised something that I'm quite passionate about, that South African men are weak. I want to agree with his sentiment, because you cannot have a country where you've got grown men whose wives, mothers, sisters, cousins, and children disappear daily through kidnappings, and there is no uproar whatsoever. You cannot have men whose involvement in this societal ill of women going missing, it is just to retweet a missing person. I think it's an indictment on us as South African men, and we need to look in the mirror and take a blame of what is happening in society today. And we can talk about how women have become vulnerable to things, to these scoundrels that are targeting them for marriage of convenience. But again, even there, we need to take responsibility for that. Why do I say that? If maybe a woman was owning a spaza in Alexander, and all of a sudden Somalis, Pakistanis take over the spazas and close her down, how do you think she's going to survive? The next logical thing is that she's going to become vulnerable to a Nigerian who would promise her heaven and earth, and because she needs to survive, she's going to go into a marriage of convenience. But when you look at it, you want to blame her, but where were the men when her spaza was closed down? So South African men, it's about time we man up and not only debate silly issues on Twitter and become a meme obsessed generation. We are not fighting for any cause. All we know is to drink Monday to Friday and talk about the groove. But I think it's about time that we develop a sense of responsibility towards our country and man up and be counted as men. But let me get into my points here. ZANU, and this I need to say it straight, ZANU PF cannot be allowed to open branches in South Africa freely. This is a big, big no. Why do I say that? It will be a betrayal to Zimbabwe as a country. It will be betrayal for the people that have remained in Zimbabwe to fight for a change in terms of socioeconomic conditions in Zimbabwe. If we allow people who are perpetrators of human rights in Zimbabwe to come and open in South Africa. ZANU PF, there should never be any association whatsoever with us as South Africans towards ZANU PF. So them opening, the reason we are having a crisis in South Africa is because most Zimbabweans ran away from their country. And they were not just running away from the land, they were running away from the political elite in Zimbabwe. And now they're here in South Africa, setting up in South Africa, and they are up to no good. This one, it has to be communicated in no uncertain terms. ZANU PF cannot open branches in South Africa, and that does not need us to be politically correct in any way. They are responsible for the mess that we see in Zimbabwe, and that mess we are beginning to see, that mess obviously spilling over into other SADC countries. ZANU PF must take responsibility, and we must not host them. Now, another thing that I need to raise, I've got just 5 points, I'm not going to be long. When you fight a battle in military, or maybe if Russia was to come and fight against South Africa, they are not going to just drop bombs all over. The first thing that they may do, I'm not saying they have done it, they might bomb the parliament. The second thing that they will do, they might bomb union buildings. The second thing that they may do is to take over SABC and own communications for the country. And why do they do that? Is because when you fight battles, you must have what we call must-win battles. So if you are going to win this battle, you need to be all over the place. You need to identify what is the battle that we must fight in 2022. And that battle, by the time we come to the end of 2022, it must have been won. And when we move in 2023, then we must have a must-win battle for 2023. Or maybe you might say for 2022, we have 5, it must always be 5, not more than 5. 5 must-win battles. For the first quarter, this battle that we're going to fight, the second quarter, the fourth quarter, and some of the battles obviously will overlap it depending on the dynamics that may be at play. So don't try to be everything to everyone. You're going to lose the momentum. You're going to lose the focus. Have the must-win battle. The first thing is that you need to stand up and say, look, we say put South Africa first. The reason we say that is because we want jobs that can be done by South Africans to be in those positions. South Africans must be employed. We want to address the issue of undocumented illegal foreigners. Then we want to reclaim the township economy. Now, those become your must-win battle. So you're not all over the place, because when you're all over the place, it's easy for you guys to be infiltrated. It's easy for you to be derailed. But when you've got 5 must-win battles, you are even able to identify how passionate people are. And the moment I become bored, you will begin to assess that I'm not as passionate as I used to, because you've got 5 must-win battles. The second thing, great stuff. You are having spaces, you are having matches, but as you move into 2022, my advice is that you need to build administrative capacity. What do I mean by that? You must have the capacity to be able to invite Aaron Motsoaledi around the table. The man has decided to take sides with you, so it must not be, your interaction with him should not be through the media, should not be through social media. Invite him around the table and say, Minister, we see that you have taken this battle. How best can we help you? We are patriots. We want to help you. Invite him around the table so that he knows that I've got a mandate and I've got people that can invite me to their forums, and later can come on spaces and say, and debrief and say, well, look, we met with Aaron Motsoaledi. This is what is happening in the Home Affairs, and put pressure on him. If he has done a forensic report since 2004, you need to know what are the timelines. It has been submitted, it has been given to you, the minister. When will it be released to the public? Put pressure and have deliverables for him, and come and appraise people on spaces, so that when you come on space, how you give feedback, they should be meat in your feedback, and that is going to inspire confidence of the people that you are trying to rally around this noble cause. And again, ministers like Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams, she needs to be found. So you sit around the table and say, Minister, you are missing in action. We have issues in small businesses space, and we don't see you. Why don't we see a synergy between the Minister of Home Affairs and the Minister of Small Businesses, and as well as the Minister of the Police? You guys, these people who have elected them, let's hold them accountable. Let's write letters to them to invite them to the appointments. If they don't pitch, we put it in the media and we put pressure on them and project them to the public as people that are not serving the public. So you've got to build a administrative capacity in order to create a synergy among the ministries. Another thing, we need to decentralize power. The moment Mangalani mentioned something, the moment you've got 5 people leading put South Africa first, but guys, money changes hands on daily basis. People sacrifice principles for financial expediency, and how you guard against that. Power has got to be decentralized. What I deem, or in my space, how I view put South Africa first, I don't view it as an organization where I need to be obsessed as to who are the leaders. As a matter of fact, for you want to be a leader, you don't need to lead people. In your space, wherever you are a patriot. You need to put South Africa first. You need to make sure there is adherence to the law. You need to make sure that there is pride in the flag. You need to make sure that you report criminality. You need to make sure that you are not venal. You cannot be bribed. That's what I call self-leadership. So patriots must demonstrate self-leadership. You don't need to be led. You have become part of this movement because you are passionate about this country. You want this country to be standing come 50 years down the line. You want posterity to be proud of you and say, we had men and women in the past that protected the country, and we don't need to rely on leadership. And if anyone would want to make money through this movement, you've got to warn them that those days are over. This movement cannot be bought. We have multiplied in every space. We are bringing a necessary change, and we need not to be apologized. So what I'm saying, patriotism cannot be registered. The national flag cannot be a private property. This movement cannot be a private property. This movement is for South Africans, by South Africans, and for South Africans. So no one is going to buy you guys. And if you get bought, you will be booted out, because the value system that you guys subscribe to will automatically kick somebody out. Another point is that we need to restore the national pride. Mangalani spoke about it. National pride boils down to, if we've got a sponsor that is selling counterfeit goods or products, such as sanitary towels, you as patriots, are you waiting to be invited on the space and contribute, or are you there on the ground in your communities and having difficult conversations with these people? Have you identified how many sponsors are in my area? And these sponsors that are in my area, are they operating ethically? Have I gone there to look at the samples of the products that they keep? And have I held the owners accountable, and as well as the landlord? Or you are waiting for us to have a space so that you can become a talk show and you display your ability to speak English? This is not a time for English. This is a time for action. You need to be on the ground. Take accountability. How many South African-owned sponsors have you identified? Have you spoken to them in terms of what you need? How can we support you? Have you rallied around your community to support those sponsors? Because unless this translates into action, it becomes a talk shop, and we are not going to go anywhere. And that's why I speak about restoring the national pride. Now, we need to exert pressure on the media. We need to put the media under pressure. The media is a vehicle, is the most powerful vehicle. You cannot fight the battle unless you really make use of the media. And I'm going to advise you how you do that. You need to zoom in on journalists who, and I want to put it for what it is. The moment I say we cannot allow to have people that are not traceable in the country who are undocumented, and the journalist comes and say, you're xenophobic, you must be able to articulate to that journalist and say, sir or madam, are you promoting criminality? Because being in a country illegally, that illegal status, through that, you cannot ever achieve anything that is legal. So are you simply telling us that you're using your media platform to justify criminality? Being undocumented in a country is criminality. That one I need to repeat is not xenophobia. I remember there was a time where I wanted to get to the UK. My visa was declined. I didn't scream racism. I simply understood that at that point in time, maybe my visit, according to the immigration officials of the UK, felt that I should not come to the UK. As much as I was aggrieved, but I'd never turned it into something else. So, as a matter of fact, why should it be a case whenever South Africa says for you to enter our borders, you must be documented? I've been to Zimbabwe, I've been to Botswana, to Swaziland, to Lesotho. I've got my passport. I need to make sure it gets stamped. I mean, that is in any sane society, that is the minimum expectation. And I'm battling to understand why would you have journalists who are putting the Minister of Home Affairs under pressure when he wants to restore the rule of law. These same journalists they have never gone to Zimbabwe and say, we need an audience with Idi Mnangagwa to understand what makes people to run away from your country as a president. They only apportion the blame to South Africans, and we say the blame has been apportioned to South Africans for far too long. It's about time that other African countries must take accountability. And journalists who are promoting this illegality, they need to be named, they need to be engaged, and they need to be put under pressure. And we need to look at their social structure. We need to look at the media houses that have employed them. We need to look at the ownership of those media houses. So this battle is going to need us to have area of specialization. Somebody must specialize on the media to analyze the trends in the media in relation to this topic, put South Africa first. And anything that is unto us, you identify who's this person. This journalist, the reason maybe this journalist is defending this illegality, is she involved with other people that are illegal? Those are the questions that we must ask. And when we speak about restoring national pride, our boys are on Nyaobe. You drive into the townships around the country. It's heartbreaking to see that young men, their lives have been written off. I have not heard most of the politicians becoming vocal about this. And it tells me that some of them may be benefiting from this drug trafficking. Human trafficking is rife in South Africa. I don't see. Imagine Cyril, if he was to be able to come once a week in what we used to call family meetings and say, for this month, I'm here to report to the statistics to say how many kids have gone missing, how many women have gone missing, and how many have been recovered, and where are we with the solution? Because to me, I think the pandemic of women and children going missing and the pandemic of rape far outweighs what we deemed to be the COVID-19 pandemic. It needs the same commitment in terms of updating the nation. But the problem is that I don't think in the union building we've got a president. We just have a man in the suit who's got no backbone, because if he had a backbone, in Malawi where he went, he could have easily engaged African presidents and say, listen, guys, we have tried to help as best as we can, but you are not coming to the party. Your people are coming to our country in numbers, and most of them are undocumented. What are we going to do about this situation? Put it on the agenda. Put it to those men and women who deem themselves to be president and say, you are not leading. You are not fit for purpose. That is why I'm so much under pressure from our own people, because the cake can only be shared up to a point. But for me, I say all the best in 2022. Make sure that you do all those things. But I can see the narrative in the media has changed. We've put some of the journalists under pressure, and will continue. If you see any journalist, flag them to us. We'll be able to look at the interview and dissect the interview and show. I've been on the case of this other News Africa journalist who was trying to make Iron Mutsalid look like a fool and I was on her case. And from that time, I see journalists like Sakina Kawendo, they are reporting fairly on the concerns of South Africans. So the struggle continues. We need to not to lose the momentum. We are not hating. We don't promote violence. We are peace-loving people. We can't associate our flag with the shedding of the blood. We cannot associate our flag with violence. All we are simply saying, we've got the laws of the land, and we need 100% adherence to our laws, irrespective of who you are and where you come from. And if the law says you need to make sure that South Africans get preferential treatment on certain jobs, by so means you do that. I'm glad that even EFF is coming on board. One by one, they're coming on board. But don't be gullible. Immigration has become a ballot paper issue. Some of them, the reason they are making a turn is not genuine, is because their eye is on 2024, the national elections, because they know that this is a big ticket. So what is happening is not about what they say they are going to do. It's about what we see them doing on the ground. There is a difference between when you say, I'm going to do something, and when you say, I'm busy doing this, look what I'm doing. So most of the politicians, they want to gaslight you. They want to soften you because 2024 is around the corner. And the number one issue is immigration control. So don't fall for it. Be on the ground and be patriots. Patriotism is back in fashion. Thank you.